Hi, and welcome back to Seasons, Thriving Through All the Seasons of Your Life. And this is based on my book called Seasons, and that's available on Amazon. And today we're going to be discussing one way to break my eyeglass habit. I was severely nearsighted for most of my life, and I also suffered from severe astigmatism in both eyes. As a result, I was almost legally blind, and to make matters worse, I was developing cataracts. Several years ago, I received a miracle through the combination of advanced technology and the skilled hands of a brilliant eye surgeon. With the implantation of permanent corrective lens, along with cataract surgery, I was no longer extremely nearsighted, and I no longer suffered from severe astigmatism. As a result, I was able to pick any pair of glasses and frames from any optician office. I was no longer restricted to heavy-duty frames or specialized lenses. And so I chose the freedom of a discount optician shop. A couple of years later, my cheaper frames fell apart. As they were beyond repair, a visit to my optometrist was in order, and at the same time, he gave me an eye examination. I was a little bit worried that I would need a stronger prescription because I was experiencing eye fatigue, especially when I was reading fine print. After a series of tests, however, my optometrist cheerfully announced that my eyes had not changed much since the surgery. But why was I having difficulties then? Before I could voice my concern, my usually jovial doctor leaned in and said quite firmly, I was not to wear my new glasses outside of computer work and reading fine print. Through his inflection, I surmised that he had told me this before. And as I searched the cobwebs at the back of my memory, I realized that he had. The light went on. Oh, these glasses were not meant to be worn day in and day out. If I wore these glasses constantly, I would actually be making my healthy eyes dependent on something they no longer needed. My distance vision was fine. All I needed to do was train my eyes to focus on the distance. His smile returned at my befuddled expression, and he told me I just needed to be educated on how to use my new prescription and that I needed to have the proper lens. He could tell that my previous lens that I had kind of cheaped out on weren't quite perfect. And so he led me to a specialist in his office who quickly educated me on why I needed to spend a little bit more money on my lens, and guided me through the process and reassured me that everything was going to be fine. And she was right. My eye strain was completely gone once I got the right pair of glasses. Another factor about me wanting to wear my eyeglasses all the time is I grew up all my life hiding behind glasses. And all of a sudden, I no longer could hide behind the frames. My eyes were exposed to the world. I felt exposed and uncomfortable. And for several months, both my friends and I had to adapt to my new appearance. As I reflect on my experience, I can see similarities in my spiritual life, and perhaps you can too as you've been reading along. How often do I look at the world through the lens of my past experiences and preconceived ideas? How often does presumption cause me to miss God's direction or disobey His direction? How often do I hide my true self behind shaded glasses of self-protection? And why do I insist on settling for second best when God has so much more He would like to give me? As I was reading this devotion again, I was reminded of Paul's exhortation and chastisement to the Jewish believers who kept on trying to return to their Judaic laws as a way to make themselves presentable before God. And they even went as far as to try to put these restrictions on the Gentile new believers. And Paul was basically saying there was nothing wrong with the law. It was good and it was necessary. However, there is a better way, and Christ has made us free. We no longer have to hide behind heavy glasses of self-protection. But we have to let go of presumptions. I grew up all my life with glasses on my face. From the moment I woke up until my light went off at night, they were firmly attached to my face. Are there old habits and ways of doing things that you no longer need to be doing and that are holding you back from hearing God's directions and God's call for you right now? Are you willing to let those aside? And as a side point, are you willing to let down your guard and allow people to see who you really are? I'll see you tomorrow.